Alright, so today I'm going to be showing you my American Civil War display that I have in my little private museum. And I'm going to be showing you the Union half of it. As you'll know, the American Civil War, 1861 to 1865, it was between the North and the South. And the North, of course, was the Union, the South was the Confederacy. And I have the Confederacy too, but today we're going to focus solely, strictly on the North. That's the United States of America, the federal government in the American Civil War. Alright? So, in 1861, the war began. In the beginning of 1861, the United States had 33 states in the Union, and this is what one of the flags. This is the Fort Sumter flag. It has 33 stars. In January 1861, Kansas was admitted to the Union, so it went to 34 stars. However, we have a little thing that we do where we do not officially add, when we admit a state to the Union, we don't officially add a star to the flag until the 4th of July that year. So even though Kansas was admitted to the Union in January, the 34th star for Kansas did not get added to the flag until the 4th of July of 1861. So, see what it looks like there. So, when the war happened, this is what the country looked like. The Union states are in blue, and the rebel states are in red. And in light blue are the border states that remained in the Union, but also permitted slavery. It's important to note, of course, West Virginia, which is right there, did not actually exist in 1861. They split off from Virginia and were admitted to the Union in 1863. So, yeah, they weren't always there, but by 1863, this is what the country looked like. Alright, so in 1860, President Lincoln was elected, and he was against the expansion of slavery into the West. But of course, this was not good enough for the South. The South was very certain that Lincoln was going to take their slaves away, which he said numerous times that he was not going to do, but they thought he was anyway. And so 11 of them seceded. Well, initially it was 7, but then it went to 11 after Fort Sumter. So 11 of them seceded from the Union, and 13 if you want to count Missouri and Kentucky, but they never actually officially seceded. But they were given representation in the Confederate government. So that's why some of these Confederate flags you'll see have 13 stars. But anyway, so April 12th, 1861, the rebels opened fire on Fort Sumter, which was a fort in South Carolina that was still held by the Union. And this was an unacceptable act for the Union. And that's when the war began. And it dragged on until 1865. There were many battles, many fights, and these are some relics from that time period. The rifle is actually a post-Civil War model 1884. It's a Springfield. You'll see here it says U.S. Springfield with the Federal Eagle to the left of it. This is what they replaced the cap and ball rifles with. This one fires cartridges. It actually fires 45-70. So this is a placeholder until I can get an actual Civil War rifle. But they get expensive. So, but it's close enough, so I put it there. And that's the inside of the lock plate. That's what the inside looks like. Okay? But before that, we had cap lock rifles, which needed caps and black powder and lead balls to fire. And these were what was used during the Civil War. These are called mini balls, or you could call them Minet balls, because the French fellow that made them pronounced his name Minet. But it's easier to say mini balls. So that's how they look. They also had round musket balls, because they did still use smoothbore round shot firing muskets at that time. Now this is what a normal mini ball would look like. And then when you'd fire them and they'd hit something, they'd get all squished and impacted like that. See that? Pretty wide. Here's a squished musket ball. Yeah, pretty interesting stuff. I got tent pieces. I got coins. I got knapsack hooks. All buttons, things of that sort. This is actually the rear plate of a Pennsylvania rifle. Pretty interesting stuff. Got horseshoes. This one's still got the nails in it. And the Civil War was over 160 years ago. As a matter of fact, it's now 2023, and as of this year, July 1st to 3rd, the Battle of Gettysburg happened 160 years ago. Now, that's pretty interesting. I got the tin cups. I got the mess kits. Look at their forks that they were using at that time. I got a cannonball here. This is a 3-inch cannonball, and this is what they would have fired it with, a 3-inch ordnance rifle. Alright, and then ahead of that, I have one of the crown jewels in my Civil War collection as it stands right now, my Model 1860 Staff and Field Officer sword. Now it's a little rusty. It's not quite what it was all those years ago, but it's still beautiful. Look at the engraving. How nice that looks. Whew. Yeah, it's not bad, if I do say so myself. I have here fully life-sized dummies, all dressed up in the uniforms of the day. We have, of course, right here, Billy Yank, just a regular old Union soldier. They still have their flags in their belts for Memorial Day. Never took the flags out. But this is a Zouave from the 11th New York Infantry Regiment. The uniforms and flags aren't original, because they get very expensive, but everything else here is pretty much. This is a Union general, like these, who I'll get to a second, one of them. And then this is a greatcoat that the soldiers would have worn in the winter. If you look in the back, I have the 34-star flag, the 6th Pennsylvania Cavalry, 35-star flag from 1863, and the Irish Brigade and the 20th Maine. I don't know if I mentioned them. I don't have a very good memory that way. So here we have General Grant. We have General Sherman, who of course was responsible for perhaps the most based thing during the war, which was the March to the Sea. And General McClellan, who is known for being very not based because he failed to win. And of course, that's President Lincoln. So yeah, that's how it's looking so far. My coins. The American Civil War. I have the 2 cents, I have the 1 cent pieces. There was actually a shortage of 1 cent pieces during the war, so private companies were minting their own, like this one. This is from 1863, and it's a privately minted token that was actually in circulation during the war. On the back it says Our Navy. Okay, so that's what it looks like so far, folks. Hope you learned a little something today. And next we'll probably do one on the Confederacy.